The Supreme Court is addressing recent allegations of ethical lapses by adopting a new code of conduct, replacing their old code of conduct.
But Trump's version ends with Jesus' disciples storming Jerusalem to overturn the results of the crucifixion. Trump also posted this video urging his followers to buy it.
All Americans need a Bible in their home, and I have many.
A federal indictment issued this week against Hunter Biden alleges that he evaded paying over $1 million of taxes between 2016 and 2020. And they're only catching him now? Man, this is super embarrassing for whoever was president from 2016 to 2020. That was a great message.
Wow.
That was a great message.
Colin. Wow.
That's a great message. If people can find you on Instagram, that's cool.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
President Biden went to Walter Reed Medical Center for his annual physical. Doctors said Biden was fit as a fiddle, in that he's old-timey and held together by strings. Netflix is planning to open its own network of brick-and-mortar stores, which is like a serial killer walking around in the skin of his victim.
Minority Leader Mitch McConnell seen here losing the battle with his breakfast burrito. Criticized President Biden's speech on voting rights, calling it beneath his office. Coincidentally, beneath his office is also where McConnell buries the homeless men he hunts for sport.
Former President Donald Trump seen here definitely not sleeping. He's probably just praying. Former President Trump, for the first time in his trial, wrote a message on a yellow Post-it note and handed it to his lawyer while he was making an argument. The Post-it read simply, "Can't pay you." Prince Andrew, who faces charges of sexual abuse, has been stripped of his royal duties by Queen Elizabeth. It's an unprecedented case of an adult stripping Prince Andrew.
Congress passed a bill that makes lynching a federal hate crime punishable by up to 30 years in prison. And they're not messing around. You can get 150 days for just making one up.
Health officials say that the annual Gridiron Club dinner in Washington, D.C. became a COVID super spreader event with more than 50 high-ranking officials getting infected. The problem was a lot of people took off their masks during the post. After new polls showed Donald Trump leading Joe Biden, Democratic strategists are calling Biden's re-election campaign a five-alarm fire, which is scary for Biden because in a fire, you have to use the stairs.
A growing number of women who use weight loss drugs are reporting surprise pregnancies, which are being called Ozempic babies. And I believe Ozempic babies was also the theme of the...
The Arizona Supreme Court has reinstated a law from 1864 banning doctors from performing abortions. Now, reinstating laws from 1864 isn't the worst thing for me because I'm a white landowner and a proud Freemason. But it's probably not great to adopt health care rules from a time where the only two things doctors prescribed were prayer and cocaine.
I like this crowd.
Yeah. Lily Gladstone is the first Native American woman to be nominated for Best Actress. That's right. It's a historic moment her fellow nominees are calling, "Please don't let us win."
I thought you did that good. I wouldn't have said that. Pope Francis said this week that sexual pleasure is a gift from God. Unfortunately, it was in response to the question, should the church still have altar boys? Speaking of kids, an upcoming TV special starring actor James Vanderbeek will attempt to raise awareness about prostate cancer testing. It's called Dawson's Crack.
Counting on Rudy to carry out your secret mission is like handing your grocery list to your dog. It was also revealed that after President Trump was warned that Rudy was being fed misinformation by the Russians, Trump just shrugged his shoulders and said, "That's Rudy." Thursdays on CBS. A Volvo crashed through the front of a Whole Foods in a Maryland suburb. It was an accident so white that everyone's insurance went down. Van Leeuwen Ice Cream is introducing several new flavors, including Kraft Mac and Cheese, Kettle Corn, and Dill Pickle. And if any of those flavors sound good to you, you're pregnant.
If anything, this election shows just how disconnected we are from each other, okay? I mean, look at this map of votes by county. You see how the Democrat area looks like the Metro PCS coverage zone? What's wrong with you, man? It was reported that for the first time ever, a robotic police dog was shot in the line of duty. Well, now it's a robotic police dog. Scientists in New Guinea have rediscovered a long-lost mammal called a monotreme, which has the quills of a hedgehog, the snout of an anteater, the feet of a mole, and the ass of an angel. A new report shows that since the abortion ban took effect in Texas, the number of teenagers in the state giving birth rose for the first time in 15 years, which is terrible news for Texas, but great news for my new store, Michael Che's maternity prom dresses.
My God.
That's the study that I'm just...
That's a study. That's a real study. And this was a nice story over the holidays. Nearly 20 drivers on the Staten Island Expressway worked together to save a Chihuahua named Bean that had run onto the road. And then the Staten Islanders banded together again to send Bean back to where he came from.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame announced that Dolly Parton would be inducted this year, along with Eminem, Lionel Richie, and Carly Simon, which begs the question, what is rock and roll?
A team of doctors will soon perform a surgery that uses muscle and skin from a man's arm to give him a new penis, which he was born without. And before the man with no penis goes into surgery, let me just say this. Good luck, Colin. Now that's not...
People Magazine's sexiest man alive is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Yeah. He once again beat his longtime rival, Dwayne "The Scissors" Johnson. I am so proud of that joke, by the way.
A woman on Long Island discovered a diamond ring inside of a glove while trying it on in a department store. And because it was Long Island, it was still attached to a finger.
A new report shows that half of the dogs in the U.S. are overweight, which explains why the most popular breed in America is the Type 2 Dire Beagle.
Trump has justified his use of Twitter, saying he'd tweet less if the press did their job better, or if his Ambien did its job better.
A man in Arizona is claiming that he can relieve sinus pressure in his nose by masturbating. He first made the claim while police were removing him from the bus. There's people that love Donald Trump so much that they're willing to overlook these allegations, and I can understand that. Look, I'm a huge fan of Michael Jackson because of Thriller and Off the Wall. But that doesn't mean I can't admit that he's done some terrible things, too. Like that Invincible album. Or that song he made with Eddie Murphy. What was that? It was almost as bad as that stuff he did to those kids.
It was announced that Idina Menzel will sing the national anthem at this year's Super Bowl. Then she'll sing Let It Go as a tribute to the NFL's domestic violence policy. In a speech this week, Hillary Clinton stressed the need for compromise in Washington, saying she hopes to lead the country into, quote, a warm purple space, which is the same line Grimace uses to get you into his windowless van.
A couple in Russia invited a bear to be a witness at their wedding. There were no survivors.
Golf Digest magazine has created a controversy over a new cover featuring 20-year-old golfer Lexi Thompson posing with only a towel covering her breasts. But before you call them sexist, they did the same thing last month with Arnold Palmer.
Dick Cheney criticized the Senate report on CIA interrogation methods as, quote, a bunch of hooey. Cheney also complained that the report's description of torture, quote, barely got me hard. So like if you go to your email, you could just like open it up. It's literally right in there.
Damn it. This is for a sick kid?
Yeah, very sick boy.
Okay, well, here goes. A McDonald's in China was criticized for posting a sign saying that black people were not allowed to enter, which is the same sign I'm going to hang on my daughter.
Oh my goodness. Whoa. The Blue Moon diamond, which sold at auction for $48 million, was bought by a billionaire for his 7-year-old daughter, which raises the disturbing question, did that guy cheat on his daughter? Pablo Picasso's Women of Algiers was sold for a record-setting $179 million. But I can get you a picture of lopsided titties for way less than that.
Johnny Depp this week criticized actors who become musicians, saying the whole idea makes him sick. Depp believes the only other thing an actor should become is a French scarf monster. An American woman set a new record by visiting every country in the world in 19 months. And after all that travel, she found the one thing that had been inside her all along. Zika. Just had it. A Massachusetts couple whose son was born during the Super Bowl has named him Brady, while an Atlanta couple whose son was born during the Super Bowl has named him Son of a Bitch.
I never understood why cops don't like us. We have so much in common with the police. We're both portrayed negatively on the news. You can hear our cars from blocks away. Everyone gets nervous when they think we're following them. We're the only two people I know who can hop a fence in boots. We both bring our guns to funerals. I can go on and on.
Thursday is Thanksgiving, and there's so much to be thankful for this year, unless you're a human woman. The New York City Department of Sanitation has launched its first campaign in 15 years with messages such as, if you litter, you're garbage, which is actually dialed back from the original version, your litter belongs in the trash next to your whore wife.
Police in England are now using specially trained dogs to detect semen at crime scenes. This replaces the old method of detecting semen, slipping on it.
At Virginia Commonwealth University, a professor is being sued following revelations that he spanked one of his students. It was the student's parents who first became suspicious when they asked, "What kind of marks are you getting?" And she replied, "Big red ones on my ass."
A group of hikers in Great Britain had to be rescued when they got lost after taking psychedelic mushrooms. More embarrassing, they never actually left the house.
A 67-year-old woman in China gave birth this week. The birth set a record for most friction. See, you guys don't realize it, but that joke took me like 4 hours to write.
A new study finds that the average child throws a tantrum 4 times a week. Weeknights on Fox.
Well, tennis player, ophthalmologist, transsexual Dr. Renee Richards is writing a book about her life. It is tentatively titled Tennis Without Balls.
A proposed bill in California would create an alert system for missing black women and kids. This is in addition to the alert system for missing white women and kids, the news.
Finally, in Burien, Washington, elementary school teacher Mary Kay Letourneau pled guilty this week to having sex with a 6th grade student whose child she bore in May. Miss Letourneau has been branded as a sex offender, or as the kids refer to her, the greatest teacher ever.
A new study suggests that the average man exaggerates the length of their penis by more than 20%. But aren't you supposed to add 20% for tip?
NASA has named the 4 astronauts it will send on the Artemis II mission to the moon. And if things go wrong, I think I know who's dying first. Oh, he can do the Hitler salute there?
An 89-year-old Japanese man has been recognized as the oldest male surfer ever. He truly embodies the surfing lifestyle because every part of his body hangs loose. Apple has launched a new feature called Pay Later that lets users spread out payments for apps over the course of 6 weeks. And this has also launched my new favorite insult, Yo mama's so poor she put Candy Crush on layaway.
H&M has apologized after using a black child to model a sweatshirt with the logo "Coolest Monkey in the Jungle." Worse, the shirt was made by the saddest child in the sweatshop. I said worse.
Yeah.
Before he collapsed on stage, Michael Jackson sold some of his publishing rights for $100 million. Do you have any idea how much $100 million can buy these days? 5 free molestings. That's right. It's a deal.
Sad story from the world of entertainment this week. Talk show host Ricki Lake had to get rid of her dog Dudley after the pooch became too aggressive with her 7-month-old son Milo. A clearly saddened Lake said, "It broke my heart to get rid of that dog, but he was delicious."
An Arizona woman was arrested after she allegedly went day drinking while her 5-month-old child was sitting home alone, like a loser.
Officials are warning hikers to stay away from a volcano in New Zealand, saying there are signs it may erupt. Signs like when locals heard the volcano whisper, "Oh, I'm so close."
Getting worse. A woman flying to Detroit said she woke up to a pastor urinating on her, which explains why her dream was about her being baptized.
Finally, this Christmas, Santa Claus will be starting a new look at up-to-date shopping malls around the country. They will now feature black Santas, Asian Santas, Hispanic Santas, and even Middle Eastern Santas. It is all part of a program to make little children cry.
Let's start in Pennsylvania with Dr. Oz, seen here telling the audience how many minutes he's lived in Pennsylvania. A review of scientific studies published by Dr. Oz revealed that his experiments killed over 300 dogs, but eventually he got the recipe right. Dr. Oz has refused to comment on the report that his research killed over 300 dogs, though it's possible he couldn't hear the question over the wood chipper. But don't worry, Dr. Oz won everybody back last night when he gave a speech in front of Hitler's car. Worse, he then got into the car and backed over a dog. Tuesday was National Puppy Day, unfortunately at Subway.
Ugandan President Idi Amin announced he will undergo a species change operation in an effort to become a human being. If the operation is successful, Amin says he will pursue a career on American television. If it is not successful, he will eat American television.
Doctors in Nepal saved a man after he inserted a water glass into his rectum for sexual gratification and it got stuck. But I think the man actually felt positive about the experience because he said the glass was half full.
Cup Noodles has introduced a new breakfast version of their instant ramen that mixes the flavors of sausage, maple syrup, pancakes, and eggs. The flavor will be called Mom Left.
3 years ago, an 11-year-old British schoolgirl put a message in a bottle and tossed it into the Atlantic Ocean. Well, this week, she was astounded to receive a reply from halfway around the world. Sadly, the reply read, "You're 11, what are you wearing?"
Two 81-year-old women have traveled the world in 80 days after the post office lost their ashes.
Police in Oregon are warning residents about several hand grenades that have washed ashore on a beach. The hand grenades were discovered when one beachgoer said, "Mommy, look at this shell I found."
After his arraignment, Donald Trump spoke to supporters at Mar-a-Lago and said there was a very dark cloud over our beloved country, which is also what he used to call Obama.
While in the hospital, Michael Jackson had his room specially decorated with 2 huge photos of Shirley Temple. But don't get the wrong idea here. Michael Jackson is a homosexual pedophile.
Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones is under fire over a picture of him from 1957 where he looks on as black students are stopped from entering his school. Okay, so maybe Jerry Jones was a racist back then. But tell me this, would a racist own a team full of the strongest black men he could buy to work on his field? No, right? The answer is no. A new report shows that female doctors over the course of their careers make $2 million less than men. Oh, that's just not right. I mean, female doctors?
And police in Australia arrested a man after he was caught at a bus stop masturbating for over an hour. Australia, where the police let you finish.
In a new documentary, Pope Francis praises the virtues of sex, calling it one of the beautiful things that God has given to the human person. Not the way I do it. Doctors in China removed more than 120 magnetic beads swallowed by a 5-year-old boy. Wow. Wait till his boss at the factory hears about this. A Virginia man who pranks people for YouTube videos was shot while tricking someone in a mall. Good. A 106-year-old woman.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. Six Flags has unveiled plans for a new roller coaster, which will be the world's tallest and fastest, with a 600-foot drop that reaches speeds of 150 miles an hour. The only problem is, if you hit a bug, you die.
A new study finds that the top reason more teenage boys are virgins is that they haven't found the right person yet, which suggests a critical nationwide shortage on skanks. All right.
It was announced that by 2025, New York will install cameras in every subway car. Huh. I thought it was illegal to put cameras in bathrooms. First Lady Jill Biden also unveiled a new ice rink near the White House, setting the stage for next week's headline, "President Shatters Pelvis on Ice Rink."
A new study finds that despite women making less money than men, more single women in the U.S. own homes than single men, thanks to a phenomenon economists call divorce.
During a White House ceremony, President Biden wished Kamala Harris a happy birthday, then accidentally called her a great president. Even worse, he was talking to a portrait of Michelle Obama.
That's how he really dances, too. First Lady Jill Biden said in an interview that she maintains a good balance in the types of advice she offers President Biden, but it's mostly, hold on to the railing.
This week, South Carolina attorney Alex Murdaugh was found guilty of murder and also found guilty of looking like Will Ferrell dressed as Conan O'Brien.
A woman revealed that she accidentally ordered a cocktail that cost $2,000. Ingredients of the $2,000 drink included gin, vermouth, and a MacBook Pro. See, that was a sweet one.
Disneyland has announced that it's permanently closing its attraction Beast's Library and replacing it with, well, this is weird, Gaston's Gay Gym.
A California man has set a new world record by visiting Disneyland for 2,995 consecutive days, but still no sign of his kid. A new study... I tried to plow right through. A new study finds that married men live a longer, healthier life. Yeah, but for what?
Disney World is closing Splash Mountain to turn it into Tiana's Bayou Adventure after complaints that its Song of the South theme was racist. Okay, but where's the outrage about Disney forcing a mentally challenged dwarf to mine blood diamonds? In a new Scooby-Doo Halloween special, the character Velma is openly depicted as a lesbian. Finally. She was openly depicted as a lesbian, which explains why Scooby is now a rescue pit bull.
A doctor from Singapore has gone viral with a video telling people that they can get relief from constipation by sitting on the toilet cross-legged. So that's what they mean when they say crisscross applesauce. I get it now.
Oh, no. KFC has introduced a new item that's a combo of fried chicken and pizza called Chizza, though they warn it could also cause a combo reaction called vomiria.
Hefty has introduced pumpkin spice scented trash bags, and I gotta say, pumpkin spice scented trash bags is probably the best slur for white people I've ever heard.
The White House has introduced a new plan to put nutrition labels on the front instead of the back. So to give you an idea of the overall health of Americans, we're too lazy to do this.
A woman at an art fair in Miami accidentally shattered a Jeff Koons sculpture worth more than $40,000. Well, I guess it's like you always say, Colin, Koons ain't safe in Florida.
You're gonna get me killed. A new trend among parents is to choose baby names that sound cool as TikTok handles. Great news for little baby Trick Shot COVID Hoax. Flacco, the beloved owl that escaped from the Central Park Zoo, died last week after he flew into a building. Flacco will be remembered for his famous last words, "Oh, cool, another owl."
Police in Florida say that multiple shots were fired during a fight outside a Chuck E. Cheese, but there were no victims located. Maybe check the pizza?
Federal officials have charged 2 men for allegedly killing more than 3,000 protected birds, including bald eagles. But on the other hand, best weekend of our lives. Hawaii's Mauna Loa, the world's largest active volcano, began erupting for the first time since 1984. Also erupting for the first time since 1984, your aunt watching Yellowstone.
A new report shows that South Korea now has the world's lowest birth rate, despite the efforts of South Korean entertainer Nick Can-un. Nick Can-un.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I heard you. Yeah. Hate it. Well, guys, it's 2024, but is it? I don't know about you, but when I think of the year 2020, I never think we should run that one back. And if you're feeling confused, you're not the only one. At a rally on Thursday, President Biden said he was mixed up when he claimed he had just taken a photo with a woman who wasn't even there.
New Jersey police recaptured an escaped pig named Albert Einstein. They call him Albert Einstein because compared to people in New Jersey, pigs are geniuses. Oh, man.
Wow. Then the next day, Donald Trump repeatedly confused Nikki Haley with Nancy Pelosi. Guys, I don't know if we should do this election. It's honestly starting to feel like elder abuse. I don't even blame them. I blame us for allowing it. It reminds me of those bum fight videos where they made 2 homeless guys fight for money.
Nikki Haley has launched a series of campaign ads targeting both Donald Trump and Joe Biden called Grumpy Old Men. Okay, but at least they're men. Chicago became the largest U.S. city to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. And in return, Gaza called for a ceasefire in Chicago.
And now we look back on it and we're like, how did we as a society let that happen? So I think the best solution is we should just tell Trump and Biden that they both won. And that we're very proud of them. And that they can rest now.
Scientists in New Guinea have rediscovered a long-lost mammal called a monotreme, which has the quills of a hedgehog, the snout of an anteater, the feet of a mole, and the ass of an angel. I'm just reading it, man.
In a new interview, Donald Trump also claimed that President Biden was high on cocaine during the State of the Union, saying he was all jacked up at the beginning. By the end, he was fading fast. It almost sounds like Donald Trump knows exactly what it feels like to be on cocaine.
Those are some rough jokes, Colin. The second largest Hindu temple in the world has opened in New Jersey. Hindu leaders believe the temple ended up in New Jersey because it did something terrible in a former life. A first-class dining menu from the Titanic is being auctioned off for over $80,000. The menu includes duck in a port wine sauce, spring lamb, and bottomless water. It's the Titanic.
Because the Titanic, right?
Sunk. Donald Trump said that at the debates, he wants both of them to stand instead of sit. So that's the status of our presidency. Standing is a feat of strength. I think we could learn a lot more watching them both try to get out of a beanbag chair. Israeli officials are reportedly furious after the U.S. withheld a shipment of weapons. But yes, sometimes people get angry at their intervention. All right, that was... President Biden on Tuesday issued a call to fight hate against anti-Semitism, saying there is no place for it in America. But on the other hand, Colin's Country Club.
Just today, Donald Trump posted on Truth Social that he wasn't scared of going to jail for violating a gag order, saying, "I will gladly become a modern-day Nelson Mandela." Unfortunately for Halloween.
A new poll shows that supporters of President Biden and Donald Trump are sharply divided over where they get their news from. People who support Biden are more likely to get their news from newspapers and mainstream media, while Trump supporters get their news from T-shirts. During a ceremony in Russia, Vladimir Putin was sworn in for his 5th term as president by placing his hand on the Russian Constitution, which is just a fun joke.
Well, a new survey ranks the Boston accent as one of the sexiest accents in America. But keep in mind, the survey was conducted by Catastrophic Hearing Loss magazine. Conservatives are upset over a new episode of the PBS children's cartoon Arthur, in which Arthur's teacher is revealed to be gay. Meanwhile, no one seems to care that Peppa Pig's head is a full-on penis. An obese monkey in Thailand named Godzilla has been sent to a special facility to lose weight. Officials realized the monkey was overweight when a bunch of black guys kept hitting on it.
That's pretty racist, Colin.
Warner Brothers is producing a new movie in which Superman is black. And a black Superman actually makes a lot of sense when you remember that Superman was abandoned by his parents as a baby. Well, I knew you'd like that one, so here's another one. Warner Brothers is producing a new movie in which Superman is black. In this version, black Superman's kryptonite is an honest day's work.
Okay. Whoa.
This week, construction began on a new hip-hop museum in the Bronx. And I know that we've had a lot of fun with me reading racist jokes that Michael writes for me, but because our country is already divided enough, I'd like to use my platform to say something that everyone of all races can agree on. Woody Allen is innocent. He did nothing wrong. And before I go, I just thought of another punchline for that Black Superman story. Black Superman will be referred to as the Man of Steel, spelled S-T-E-A-L. The location of Sex Island, that's a terrible transition. I didn't know that was going to be back-to-back. That's not, it's a weird badge to get. The location of Sex Island, which is a 4-day drug-fueled event featuring prostitutes and an exclusive resort, has been revealed to be an island off the coast of Trinidad and Tobago. This, according to the plane ticket I saw in Shay's hand. Okay. A church in Massachusetts has created a nativity scene that comments on the immigration debate by placing the baby Jesus in a cage, where he belongs. Oh, God. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, for the first time, denied months-old rumors that he had died and been replaced by a look-alike from Sudan. See, even Africans can't tell black people apart. This is on cards. I want to switch it up a little. Shay didn't write this one. This is all me.
To hear this.
Last week was National Rosa Parks Day, or as we call it in my house, Uppity Bus Passenger Day. Many doctors are saying that they have a hard time convincing their black patients to agree to take the COVID vaccine. Well, maybe they should try telling them it makes you immune from paying child support.
Whoa. Fine.
This week marks the 65th anniversary of Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat on an Alabama bus. And I just wish that all black people could follow her example of sitting down and shutting up. Oh, God. It was announced that Creed singer Scott Stapp will play Frank Sinatra in an upcoming movie. But the good news is Sammy Davis Jr. will be played by Scarlett Johansson. Recent polls show that Pete Buttigieg has only 4% support among African Americans. But that'll change once Pete announces his running mate, the Popeyes chicken sandwich.
That was terrible, man.
The bat used by Babe Ruth to hit his 500th home run was auctioned off this week. Also, I'll be auctioning off the bat I used to keep my neighborhood white. Okay, I'm already so worried. Okay, it says, okay, time out. I refuse to read this last joke, not because it's racist, but because there's a black man holding my cue card. It says I can't work like this, so Merry Christmas, homeboy, you're fired.
Fired the man on Christmas college.
A student in Texas, who is nicknamed White Lightning, set a high school record by running the 100-meter dash in 9.98 seconds. Coincidentally, people call me White Lightning because I also finish in under 10 seconds. A A new report finds that as people move into formerly wild areas of Africa, human activity is disrupting chimpanzee culture. Incidentally, chimpanzee culture is also what my grandpa calls hip-hop. Why?
Okay? That's not...
Come on.
No, I think
The graphic.
this will be good.
Yeah, sure. A substitute teacher in North Carolina has resigned after she reportedly told a class of elementary students that Martin Luther King Jr. killed himself. In her defense, he is the one who decided to keep running his mouth. Why? You're gonna get me murdered. The White House has introduced a new plan to put nutrition labels on the front instead of the back. So to give you an idea of the overall health of Americans, we're too lazy to do this.
It's a lot. It's a lot. After trying for several years, the New York City Commission voted to remove a statue of Thomas Jefferson from City Hall. They were finally able to remove it by telling the statue there was a hot black lady outside.
Well,
Residents in Rome are upset after a wild boar and her 6 piglets were killed on a playground near the Vatican. But it's like they say, nothing good ever happens on a playground near the Vatican. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
This week there was a full moon known as the Beaver Moon, which can be seen about a month after a waxing moon.
That's a good joke. That's a good joke. Starbucks has launched a new eco-friendly program called Borrow a Cup, in which customers return their cup after finishing their drink so the store can use it again. And Dunkin' Donuts plans to compete with this promotion by not doing that.
The house where Lizzie Borden murdered her parents has been sold for $2 million and will be turned into a bed and breakfast. Though a bed and breakfast where a murder happened is pretty much just a day's in.
Virginia has become the first state in the South to abolish the death penalty. So if you'll excuse me, I've got some white women to whistle at. A group of researchers are trying to determine why humans have a desire to feed other animals, such as birds and squirrels. But if I had to guess, it's probably because their wife passed away. I don't know why I thought that'd make you laugh.
During a White House ceremony, President Biden wished Kamala Harris a happy birthday, then accidentally called her a great president. Even worse, he was talking to a portrait of Michelle Obama.
Orthodox Jewish leaders in New York City lashed out at a newly imposed coronavirus restriction in their neighborhoods by setting fires and burning masks. And it's a miracle because the mask burned for 8 nights.
Come on, dude.
That's a good one. Come on. Stop it. Stop it.
Firefighters in Florida rescued a horse that fell into a septic tank and was nearly submerged in raw sewage. A horse submerged in raw sewage is also known as an Arby's beef and cheddar.
Arby's, we eat the horse.
In the wake of the R. Kelly verdict, there's a growing movement online to force music streaming services to remove his music. I mean, after all, streaming is basically what got him in trouble in the first place. A statue of George Floyd on display in a New York City park was defaced for the second time. Police are searching for the suspect and are planning to serve him with a job application.
A woman in Taiwan who thought her boyfriend was cheating cut off his penis and flushed it down the toilet. I'm sorry, thought he was cheating?
South Carolina lawmakers voted to add firing squad to its execution methods. And I think it's nice that people will finally get the chance to be shot after they're found guilty. A woman in Arizona gave birth to a 14-pound baby boy. So now Arizona has 2 Grand Canyons. It's a math joke. I'm surprised you guys didn't get it.
Oh, my God.
A new study shows that the COVID vaccine does not cause infertility in men or women. Damn it, why did I get this?
A professional golfer in Florida was arrested after he tried to meet a 15-year-old girl he met online who turned out to be a detective. Said the golfer, Mulligan?
Come on, man.
Sadly, there's more. For those of you wondering, in golf terms, a 15-year-old is 3 under par.
Is to keep it fun, light. No one's going to get canceled. No one's families are going to get threatened. You know, have fun.
Sure, we'll see. Well, why don't you go first? Doctors in Iowa have confirmed a dog disease that can be passed on to humans. Fine, I'll wear a condom. That's fine.
An obese monkey in Thailand named Godzilla has been sent to a special facility to lose weight. Officials realized the monkey was overweight when a bunch of black guys kept hitting on it.
Pretty racist.
You're gonna get me murdered. Oh, God. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, for the first time, denied months-old rumors that he had died and been replaced by a look-alike from Sudan. See, even Africans can't tell black people apart.
It's just that it's very complicated.
It's kind of like how you feel about Colin Jost.
Oh, no. I love Colin.
I will say that. In a offensive way, you know?
If you ever had sex with me, you might have the cure for cancer. A 96-year-old German woman who was a secretary at a Nazi concentration camp has been released from detention. She is now safely in the custody of her grandson. What's up, guys?
Hey, Michael, wait. What are you doing?
An update feature. Wow. So this is SNL.
And Grandma, if you're watching, go to bed. A new report finds that as people move into formerly wild areas of Africa, human activity is disrupting chimpanzee culture. Incidentally, chimpanzee culture is also what my grandpa calls hip-hop. Why?
I wouldn't have said that. Do a split screen of Colin and Stephen Miller for 1 second.
You don't have to do that.
Okay, now, audience, by a round of applause, who do you think Hitler would want to be friends with? Stephen Miller or Colin Nixon Jost?
That's not my middle name. A substitute teacher in North Carolina has resigned after she reportedly told a class of elementary students that Martin Luther King Jr. killed himself. In her defense, he is the one who decided to keep running his mouth. Why? A church in Massachusetts has created a nativity scene that comments on the immigration debate by placing the baby Jesus in a cage, where he belongs.
A new report shows that Hurricane Florence was the wettest in history. The previous record for wetness was set on the opening night of Magic Mike. Pope Francis ended a Vatican summit by promising the Catholic Church would confront the clergy sex abuse head on instead of their usual way, face down, ass up. opening a pop-up vaccine site in a strip club. And don't worry, the strippers say the vaccine is a lot like Michael Che. Very quick, and you can barely feel it go in.
I know that we've had a lot of fun with me reading racist jokes that Michael writes for me, but because our country is already divided enough, I'd like to use my platform to say something that everyone of all races can agree on. Woody Allen is innocent. He did nothing wrong.
Police are being investigated after video surfaced of them using excessive force on a homeless black man accused of urinating in public. But I say great work keeping our streets clean, boys. Yes, sir. Anything the police do is all right with old Mikey Che.
Warner Brothers is producing a new movie in which Superman is black. And a black Superman actually makes a lot of sense when you remember that Superman was abandoned by his parents as a baby.
I know I'm probably the only black man brave enough to say this on live TV, but blue lives matter even more. Pretty insane that a major city is about to completely run out of water in 2 months, and I'm just now hearing about this. It's kind of embarrassing. I feel like I should care more about Africa. Kind of like when you run into an old friend and ask, "Hey, how's your kid?" And she's like, "Che, he's your son too."
Well, I knew you'd like that one, so here's another one. And before I go, I just thought of another punchline for that black Superman story. Warner Brothers is producing a new movie in which Superman is black. In this version, black Superman's kryptonite is an honest day's work.
Really doubling down on black Superman.
Black Superman will be referred to as the Man of Steel, spelled S-T-E-A-L.
With his victory, Eric Adams will become New York's second black mayor, not to be confused with the New York mayor who blacks out.
A 96-year-old German woman who was a secretary at a Nazi concentration camp has been released from detention. She is now safely in the custody of her grandson.
And Grandma, if you're watching, go to bed. Starbucks announced that starting in 2019, it will block pornography websites over its Wi-Fi. It's a move they're calling Che's Law.
It's good law.
A new poll shows that New Jersey Governor Chris Christie's approval rating is now at an all-time low, coming in more than 10 points below Bon Jovi playing the new stuff. Still at an all-time high, though, his belt.
The group 1 Million Moms is boycotting the Hallmark Channel for airing a commercial featuring a same-sex couple getting married and kissing. Ladies, relax. If your kid is watching the Hallmark Channel, he already gay as hell.
A photo has gone viral of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau showing off his yoga abilities, which explains why your aunt took her laptop into the bathroom. Not to be outdone, German Chancellor Angela Merkel released a photo of herself deadlifting a Volkswagen. President Trump called Justin Trudeau two-faced after the Canadian Prime Minister was caught making fun of Trump. And it's true, I've definitely seen Trudeau with at least one other face. Scientists are working to develop advanced ultra-black materials that are so dark they absorb 99% of all light. Oh, sure, but when I try to develop ultra-black material, I'm booed at the Apollo.
Donald Trump announced the launch of his own social media network he's calling Truth Social, but most people know it by its original name, the National Sex Offender Registry.
But I don't really understand how any of this is important, so I'm just going to treat this memo like every other memo I've received at work and completely ignore it. At this point, if you actually want to get my attention, the bar is set at porn star spanks president with magazine. This week marks the 65th anniversary of Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat on an Alabama bus. And I just wish that all black people could follow her example of sitting down and shutting up.
The Palm Beach mansion, once owned by Jeffrey Epstein, will soon be demolished. And I'm honestly shocked that they would demolish a place where I have so many fond memories. Rest in power, King. I'll take it from you. Senator Kirsten Sinema, who hates the attention, says she is opposed to raising taxes on the wealthy to pay for President Biden's agenda. Finally, someone speaking up for billionaires. Because it's so hard to hear them from space. The Paris Zoo was evacuated on Friday after dozens of baboons escaped their enclosure, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. In a recent study, scientists created 3D scans of dolphin vaginas and found that a dolphin's clitoris is remarkably similar to a human woman's. Said the night janitor at SeaWorld, "Well, I could have told you that."
NASA's rover Perseverance successfully landed on Mars and has started a Twitter account to send back updates. First it was, "I'm safe on Mars." Then collected first soil sample. And then, oh no, why is there no White History Month? Wow, I really figured out Twitter fast. Thousands of what are being called penis fish have washed up on the shore of a California beach. Not only that, one kid says he even found one in his mother's nightstand.
Royal experts are saying that Queen Elizabeth's health has entered a different phase, and the public may not see her until February. So you know what that means. New titties. The makers of Aunt Jemima products, which have been criticized for using racist imagery, are finally changing the name to Pearl Milling Company. Pearl Milling is the name of the white lady who owned Aunt Jemima.
Good evening. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. A federal indictment issued this week against Hunter Biden alleges that he evaded paying over $1 million of taxes between 2016 and 2020. And they're only catching him now? Man, this is super embarrassing for whoever was president from 2016 to 2020.
Mitch McConnell, seen here catching up on news from the Middle East, announced that he will step down as the Republican leader in the Senate. McConnell has been leader for almost 20 years, but he first got involved in politics back in 1968 when he lost a fiddle contest to the devil.
The indictment claims that instead of paying taxes, Hunter Biden spent his money on drugs and escorts. But honestly, it would have been more surprising if he remembered to do his taxes during that time. No one finishes doing cocaine with a hooker and is like, "Could I get a receipt?"
Donald Trump said that at the debates, he wants both of them to stand instead of sit. So that's the status of our presidency. Standing is a feat of strength. I think we can learn a lot more watching them both try to get out of a beanbag chair.
Mitch McConnell, seen here watching the bank foreclose on a single mother, says that he has completely recovered after 2 incidents where he appeared to freeze up and become unresponsive. But suspiciously, he made the comments while being held up by 2 guys in beachwear.
Many are saying he is leaving because of his bad relationship with Donald Trump. But come on, just because you hate somebody doesn't mean you can't still have a very successful working relationship with them.
I almost feel like that was about me. Former President Donald Trump, seen here definitely not sleeping. He's probably just praying. Former President Trump, for the first time in his trial, wrote a message on a yellow Post-it note and handed it to his lawyer while he was making an argument. The Post-it read simply, "Can't pay you."
Speak for yourself. If convicted, Hunter Biden could be sentenced to up to 17 years in prison, which would be the first time any Biden has successfully completed a sentence.
Mitch McConnell, seen here walking out of a theater after watching 12 Years a Slave, announced he will step down in November. He'll be replaced by the current number 2 Republican in the Senate, a frozen embryo holding an assault rifle. Mitch McConnell, seen here after rearranging a blind woman's furniture.
Mitch McConnell officially endorsed Donald Trump for president because despite their differences, they actually go way back. Donald Trump endorsed Mark Robinson for North Carolina governor, calling Robinson Martin Luther King on steroids. Not to be confused with Martin Luther King on Ozempic. All right, you go again, Colin.
Mitch McConnell, seen here bringing peanuts into a preschool cafeteria. Said he will tell Republican senators to vote against additional aid for Ukraine and Israel until there are meaningful changes to the border. But the way it came out was brains.
In the wake of the Nashville shooting, President Biden once again called on Congress to pass an assault weapons ban. Or, hear me out, stop and frisk for whites. How long before these kids earn a stereotype?
Boeing announced that the head of their troubled 737 MAX program is leaving the company after he was sucked out of an emergency exit. Next Thursday is Leap Day, which means we got to wait till Friday for it to finally be over.
Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema, who looks like all the Flintstones at once, announced that she is retiring from the Senate. But I doubt any of us will ever forget the name of Senator Crystal Salmonella. All right.
Gave a moving speech on the Senate floor announcing his retirement, which honestly made me start to admire Mitch McConnell. Seen here watching a single mother sell her blood for diaper money.
Yesterday, Mike Johnson, whose position as House Speaker is in jeopardy, traveled to Mar-a-Lago for a meeting with Donald Trump. And boy, is his jaw tired. Nikki Haley has launched a series of campaign ads targeting both Donald Trump and Joe Biden called Grumpy Old Men. Okay, but at least they're men.
It was reported that President Biden's campaign ended its January fundraising with $56 million in the bank. Now, if he can only remember his ATM code. While boarding Air Force One this week, Biden narrowly avoided tripping and falling on the stairs again, and instead did a forward roll before inviting everyone inside the chocolate factory.
It was reported that 92-year-old Rupert Murdoch is set to marry his 67-year-old girlfriend. The couple asked, in lieu of wedding gifts, send lube.
Oh, good, another one.
Oh, another one. It was reported that 92-year-old Rupert Murdoch is set to marry his 67-year-old girlfriend. The couple is registered at Campbell's Funeral Home.
On his website, truthsocial. I'm going to guess scam, Donald Trump denied reports that he was so depressed after the 2020 election that he stopped eating, saying, quote, "It was not that I was not eating, it was that I was eating too much." Wow, good save. That's like when a rumor went around middle school that I had peed my pants, and I was like, joke's on you, because I actually pooped them.
In a lawsuit against Ye, a former employee claims that Ye compared himself to Hitler minus the gas chambers. And I, for one, am shocked to hear that Ye believes in the Holocaust.
A new study claims Fremont, California is the happiest city in America, while the saddest city in America is once again Puppy Grave, Indiana. Which, incidentally, is the favorite vacation spot of Mitch McConnell.
Jim Jordan, seen here describing how he attacks the nipple, is no longer the nominee for House Speaker after Republicans dropped him Friday, which, by the way, he's used to because he was dropped a lot as a child. Potential new candidates for Speaker include Tom Emmer, Kevin Hern, Jack Bergman, and 6 more candidates who are clearly George Santos.
Senator Mitch McConnell, seen here being told a black woman made a country album, has come out in favor of a bill that would potentially ban TikTok in the U.S. Of course, for McConnell, TikTok is just what the Grim Reaper says while tapping his watch.
A social media influencer was arrested for allegedly throwing a tampon at bouncers who were removing her from a club. Well, at least we know why she was acting that way. Should I just go home? I'm gonna go home.
Senator Mitch McConnell, seen here watching someone get injured at the Special Olympics, said that he is not concerned with threats Donald Trump makes at his rallies to remove him as Senate Minority Leader. In fact, McConnell says the threats make him laugh harder than his favorite comedy show, Dahmer.
You are a stupid man. 72-year-old Jerry Turner from The Golden Bachelor announced that he and his 70-year-old wife are divorcing after 3 months of marriage. But like they say, there's still plenty of fish in the sea, Materi. See Materi, Colin. That's
yeah, really good. And you have to think that everybody in the government is a secret pedophile except for this guy dancing with Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, isn't that the happiest you've ever seen Trump? He's dancing like nobody's checking IDs.
Police say a man in Nebraska snuck into a home and slept with a sex doll belonging to a man who recently died. Wow, she moved on fast. All right.
A martial artist in Australia punched a 7-foot-tall kangaroo that was trying to drown his dog. Australia, where life is a Mad Lib. Just today, Donald Trump posted on Truth Social that he wasn't scared of going to jail for violating a gag order, saying,